What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. So today is November 20th, it's actually my birthday, and I figured what better birthday present to give myself than to make a video on my beloved M2. Now I realize the videos on the M2 don't do all that well. I realize the car's kind of old news and it's been out for a while. There's tons of M2s on YouTube already, but I love this car and I figured what I'd do today is just kind of make a quick video kind of detailing all the reasons why I love this. So let's jump in and take a ride. So this is actually the first, rear-wheel drive coupe I've owned in quite a while. Previously, I'd had a Mustang GT with the 5-liter V8 I had that thing for almost 10 years, and I love that car. I guess the biggest difference between that and this is the differential in this and the computer that does like the traction control and stuff. It's just so good that there's really, there's not any drama in this car, even though it's rear-wheel drive. It's not, it's not slip sliding around all over the place. I know there's a lot of, YouTube videos on, how easy this is to drift and stuff like that, but I actually think you have to try pretty hard to do that, and really want to be, intentionally doing that before it'll actually kind of break the wheels loose. So like I said, with this, there's no drama. It feels, like you can always kind of predict what the car's going to do. You always really feel like you're in control, even though it's got, a lot of horsepower going in the rear wheels. You always feel in control. It's never, out of control. It's not, it's not a scary experience like you would, sometimes have with a Mustang if you're not really prepared for that kind of power. So that being said, if you're looking for just, straight line speed, there's a lot better options out there, like a Z06 Corvette or a GTR. What this is really made for is being precise around corners. I know people take these things out on tracks, and I kind of doubt I'll ever actually track this thing, but it has that kind of capability that it would do really well at a track day. So I'm not going to get into technical details, but so I'm not going to dig too deep into technical details because, quite frankly, I don't know that much about it. And there's, tons of YouTube videos on it out there that you can get a lot more accurate information than you would get from me. But it has, the M Sport differential, which is why it's so good at feeling like as you go into corners, it's just really eager to kind of go fast to those corners, and it's still, gripping the road and just kind of pushing you through really quickly. So if I had to say I had, one regret on speccing this car, it's not getting the manual transmission. I do like the dual clutch transmission. Doing the paddle shifting, the shifts are super snappy. They're super quick with this dual clutch. And the paddles are super premium. I love the feel of these. And I realize, this automatic, doing the work, the computer can launch the car a lot faster than I could if I was shifting. But I guess my feeling is the manual is going to give you more of a feeling of just kind of connecting this to the road and to the car, and in a little, fun car, I feel like that's what you want. This experience is you want to feel as involved in as possible. It's not like this is your family cruiser where you're, taking it on long road trips. But yeah, that's my one regret. And really, I hate to blame this on my wife, but pretty much the entire reason I went with the dual clutch is she wanted to be able to drive the car too, and I guess how many times she's driven it since I got it in the last 3 months? Zero. So really wish I'd just gone ahead and gone with the manual, but this dual clutch is still great. Still lots of fun to drive. As you can see, I got this thing out on the highway. This thing is just so smooth. I love how you can change, the individual settings, kind of dial in, what kind of driving you're doing. You can change the throttle response. You can change, how high RPMs it holds for all the gears. You can see right now, I'm just cruising along the highway. This thing's super comfortable. Now, this part of the highway, the road's really good, so you're not really feeling any of the road. But you'll see on some of the bridges and stuff, there's some really bad spots on this road. You'll see it jostles the car around pretty good on the bumps, and you really feel that. So good roads, you'll be happy with this. If you have really terrible roads, probably not so much. So probably my other biggest regret in 3 months of ownership of this car is I just haven't got it out as much as I wanted to, and that's just because life's been really busy and a lot of stuff going on. But now we're jumping into winter, and as the weather starts getting bad, probably still not be driving that car this much, just because it's rear-wheel drive, it's got summer tires. I have other vehicles that are really more equipped to handle the winter weather we get around here. So probably not be driving this a whole lot. It'll probably kind of sit in the garage for a bit, which is sad. But once spring rolls around and the weather gets nicer, I'll be excited to get this one back out on the road. So probably one of the first things I'll do next spring is, if you guys saw some of the previous videos, I mentioned I bought this with about 10,000 miles on it. The tires are still in pretty good shape, but the rear ones are pretty much close to worn. So I'll probably go ahead and replace those come next spring, just to kind of get a fresh start at the tire set. So when I first got it, I had the dealership do an inspection and just kind of take care of all the maintenance. Big thing was oil change and a bunch of just kind of filters for the cabin and stuff that needed changed. Nothing else major. So I've gone through and done several accessories, probably more for the interior than anything so far. Plan to make a few more changes in here. I'll probably make just a separate video kind of detailing that and go through what I've done and kind of what I'm planning to do. So jumping into the interior, you can tell they did some cost cutting in here, which is the reason you're able to get such a high performance car at such a reasonable price. Looking at the instrument panel and everything, it looks a lot like BMWs look for a long time in like the 2010s. I had like a 2014 3 Series, and the middle part of it looked pretty much exactly the same. It does have the matte carbon fiber on the dash and some on the door as well. Not as big a fan of that as I am of the glossy carbon fiber I have in my X3M, but I do really like the orange stitching and the Alcantara that's both on the door and on the bolsters of the seats as well. I think that's really nice. Now I realize a lot of people probably don't spec these with the sunroof, but I, for one, am thankful that it has it, because it's 6'5". You can see I don't have a ton of headroom, and I feel like if there was no sunroof cut out here, there would be even less. So I'm glad this one had that option. But if I gotta pick just one thing that I enjoy the most about this car, it's definitely the sound from the exhaust. And I'd have to say it's quite loud on the outside. Inside, not so much. I think they've insulated this cabin pretty well, so it filters out quite a bit of it, which I wish in the cabin you could hear it just a little bit more. But I would say from the outside, it is quite loud. If you're driving this thing early in the morning, you're definitely going to wake up all your neighbors. So just a kind of forewarning there. But I gotta say, I just love getting this thing out and driving it. It's so much fun. It's, even though they're both M cars, like I've said before, it's a totally different experience from my X3M. The X3M, it has so much more straight line speed, and it doesn't feel like a big SUV like you think it would. But this one, you can definitely tell you're in a smaller vehicle. You're in something that's lower to the ground. On the curves, it's much more planted. I would say the X3M has like a ton of body roll and everything, but you can kind of feel the extra weight as you're steering around corners and stuff. So the other thing I'd say I really enjoy about this car is that it's kind of a sleeper. Like, not many people really know what this is, and that it's a performance model. I mean, just looking at the outside, there's not a ton of ways to tell it from just a regular 2 Series. It looks like a BMW. So I found that's kind of one nice thing, is it's not getting a ton of attention. That is, unless people hear the exhaust, then that kind of gives it away, this performance model. So I actually went by Starbucks this morning, and I was getting ready to leave, and I started this up in the parking lot, and there was a couple of people in front of the car. I wasn't trying to scare them, but they jumped when I started the engine. So it's quite loud when it starts up. But yeah, kind of just wrapping this up here, I just have, if there's one takeaway from this, is that this car is so much fun. It's one of those things where, as I mentioned, this has been a dream car of mine for a long time. Haven't been disappointed in all. It's really, you know, kind of lived up to how I built it up in my mind. So I just have to say, you know, whatever your dream car is, once you get it, the experience, it's really just, you know, unbelievable. And getting to live with this every day, and just walking out into the garage and seeing it kind of, you know, puts a smile on my face. It's one of those things that, you know, possessions aren't everything, I get it, but just, you know, being able to go out and look out and see this car in the garage, it really does, you know, make my day better. And at the same time, it's so much fun to drive that it's one of those things that if I'm out driving, I'm gonna find an excuse to take the long way, you know, just because I enjoy this thing so much, and you know, I want to spend as much time enjoying it as possible. So really, I think that's really how you tell that you're definitely in love with the car. Alright guys, that's where I'm going to wrap things up for today. Appreciate you guys tagging along as always. Always appreciate you guys watching the videos on the channel. Look for more content coming soon, and hope you guys have a great day. Catch you in the next one.